I'm gonna be making a video that, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really want to make because the college admissions process was arguably one of the most stressful times in my life. But I do remember that watching these like how I got in videos definitely kind of calmed me down a little bit. It made me see that like you don't have to be perfect to get into your dream school. I definitely want to share my story because I think I wasn't the perfect student and I wasn't the perfect candidate. There's also a lot of toxicity surrounding the college admissions process. I just kind of want to dispel some of the beliefs about how you have to be or how you have to act in order to get in, and just talk about my own experience. So I'm going to talk about my SAT score, my grades, what classes I took, what AP exams I took, what I got, what I wrote about in my essays. Let's get right into it.
Ever since the day that you went away, you've been sending flowers to me, flowers today, flowers today.
So I'm a first year at the University of Chicago. I figured I'd film this video before I like forget everything about my senior year. Okay, so I just logged into the Common App website on my computer, and honestly, just looking at this page gives me so much stress. I just want to start out by saying that this phase in your life, it will come to an end and you will move on, and one day you're never going to have to look at this website ever again. So hang in there, you're going to survive this. Demographics, I'm Hispanic. I know that's not the most obvious thing ever, but Spanish was my first language. So on my Common App, I did put that I'm fluent in English, Spanish, and Italian as my first languages because I did grow up speaking all three. Citizenship, I'm American and Italian, so I put both of those on there. Okay, so my education. I went to a public school in Maryland and we had an IB program, and I was in the IB program for all 4 years throughout. My school didn't do class rankings. I don't think I would have been in the top percentage. I don't know where I would have been, but there were a lot of really, really smart, really successful, really capable people at my school who had way better grades than me, who were taking way harder classes. It was just so easy in this college admissions process to like compare myself to them and be like, well, they're from the exact same school and they've done so much better. So how would I ever get into this school? So I reported my unweighted GPA. My unweighted GPA was a 3.82 at the time that I was applying. Weighted GPA, because I was taking so many IB classes, I had a 4.6 something weighted GPA. Both of those appeared on my transcript, but on the Common App I could only put 1, so I chose to put the unweighted GPA. I never had a 4.0. I didn't get straight A's. There was only 1 semester of high school where I got straight A's. Okay, let that sink in. There was 1 semester of high school where I got straight A's, and it wasn't even like my junior year. It was like beginning of my sophomore year. You don't need straight A's to get into UChicago. You don't need straight A's to get into an elite university. You can have a GPA that reflects many, many B's and still get in. And I remember B's used to stress me out so much. If I could go back, I would tell myself like, calm down, do your best, but you don't need straight A's all the time. So when I applied to college, it was, I guess, the first semester of my senior year, and I reported the classes that I was taking. Just to give you an idea, this was pretty average for all 4 years for me, like the rigor of the classes that I was taking. So I'll just read out all the classes that I took the beginning of my senior year so you get an idea of like what I was applying with. So I took IB English 12, IB Spanish Literature and Language, which is also it's the equivalent of Spanish 7. I did IB Higher Level Math. I did IB Theory of Knowledge, which was required of every IB student at my school. IB Higher Level History, IB Standard Level Biology, IB Philosophy, and my last class was Law. So as you can see, pretty much every class I was taking was IB. I think my junior year, literally all 7 classes I took were IB classes. So I was taking a very, very rigorous workload. But one thing that the college admissions process really proved to me is that they would prefer to see you take harder classes than to take easier classes, but to get straight A's in all your classes. So I definitely think if I had like toned down the rigor of my classes, I probably would have gotten better grades in all of them, but I don't know that that necessarily would have looked better than taking 7 really hard classes every year. I think it's the same with AP. So the honors that I got, I was a finalist in the National Hispanic Recognition Program, which is something you get for scoring well on the PSAT as a Hispanic student. I got the State of Maryland Certificate of Meritorious Service. I think I got this for getting more than 260 community service hours. I earned the red cord from Innova Blood Donor Services, so I donated blood every 2 months from the age of 16. So there were like, I think 3 of us who graduated with this like red cord that we got to wear at graduation. My personal statement, I wrote it about how passionate I am about donating blood, but also I eventually got to organizing blood drives. Colleges don't want like a well-rounded person anymore. In a sense, they want someone with a niche, and they want someone who really like sticks to that niche. That way they know, okay, if I admit her to my school, I'm getting like the blood donor girl, and so she's gonna take care of like organizing blood drives on campus. You know, they want to know what activity you're going to contribute. That way they can make a balanced class. I was an AP scholar with distinction. I think I got this for getting like 5s on multiple AP exams. If you look on your college board account, it'll tell you if you're an AP scholar with distinction what AP awards you're getting. Throw those in your honors section if you have room. And I was a commended student in the National Merit Scholarship Program. So again, National Merit Scholars are people that scored really well in the PSAT. I was not a National Merit Scholar. I was not a finalist, but I was a commended student, which is like the first step of the elimination process. So I threw that in there. Okay, future plans. I put that I wanted to be a lawyer, and that the highest degree I wanted to achieve was like a JD. Truth is, I have no idea what I want to be, but I was advised to put something in the future plans category as opposed to just putting undecided, because then it shows a little bit more of who you are. When I was in high school, I was on the mock trial team. I took a lot of social studies classes. So I figured if I put, I want to be a lawyer, it's going to kind of make sense to them. They're going to be like, oh, okay, this is a social studies heavy, law-oriented student, because that's definitely who I was in high school. If I had put something like, I want to be an astrophysicist, they would have been like, this girl only took 1 physics class. She never did any science-related extracurriculars. So that doesn't make sense to us. Testing. Everyone's favorite. The SAT, I took SAT subject tests, I took AP subject tests, and I took IB subject tests. I took the SAT twice, and I included both scores. The University of Chicago and a lot of other elite schools will do things where they super score. So they'll take the best score you got from all of your SATs on your English section and match it with the best score you got from all of your SATs on your math section, and then combine those to make your super score, which is like the highest total score you got. The first time I took the exam, I was a junior, I got a 1460, which is not bad at all, but I had the personal goal of breaking 1500. I have met so many people who did not do well on the SAT and still got into their dream schools. And for schools like the University of Chicago, they don't even require you to report your SAT or ACT score anymore. I just included it because I wanted it to be like an added bonus. Because I didn't have the highest GPA, I wanted my SAT score to kind of help me if it could. So I took it again after getting the 1460, which was already a good score. And the second time I took it, I got a 1540. The highest like reading writing section score I got was a 780, and the highest math section score I got was a 770. So in total, my super score was a 1550, which is what I was able to report on my Common App, because they asked me to super score on my Common App. So I didn't have a perfect score on the SAT. And you don't need one either, okay? Okay, so I took a couple SAT subject tests, but I only ended up reporting 2, which were the 2 that I scored highest on. 2 that I took, and this is actually a really funny story. I went in to take the Spanish SAT subject test because, like I said, I'm fluent in Spanish. I figured that was another way to get an easy test score under my belt. I got an 800 on it, which is a perfect score. I'm half Colombian, half Italian, so I do speak Italian at home as well. And when I went to take my Spanish SAT test, afterwards, the lady who was proctoring the exam was like, if you want to stay and take another test that you didn't sign up for, that's absolutely fine. Just stay in your seat, circle which test you want to take, and then the College Board will bill you for it later. And I was like, so I like flipped to the front of the book and I was like, well, I'm already here. I don't want to have to come back here. So I might as well just see what other tests I think I could take. And I saw that there was an Italian one. I've never taken an Italian test in my entire life. I just speak it. And I decided to take the test kind of 5 minutes before I was actually taking the test. And I got a 770. It's, you know, really close to a perfect score. So I figured I would include that as well. And then it also like includes in my application. Like, I'm serious when I say that I'm trilingual and that's a strength of mine and languages are a thing of mine. Yeah, I didn't include any like math, science, English, history, literally only languages in my SAT subject test. AP exams. Okay, so the AP exams that I got a 5 on are Government and Politics, United States, US History, Psychology, English Literature and Composition, and Spanish Language. So I got a 5 on 5 exams and I listed all of them. A 4 on European history, and then I also listed the ones that I was planning on taking at the end of my senior year. I can make another video on how to get a 5 on these exams. I just remember studying my butt off. I also took, I remember taking the physics AP exam and the calculus, I think AB AP exam, and I got a 3 on both of those. I did not list those on my application. Okay, so now we're gonna go through my activities. What gets you into a school is who you are, especially a school like the University of Chicago. They care so much about who you are, and that's been proven to me in so many different ways. The first activity I put was the mock trial team. I was on my school's mock trial team for 2 years, and my senior year we actually won the Maryland State Mock Trial Championship, which was really cool. I was the opening prosecutor, so I put on there that I was the opening prosecution attorney on the varsity mock trial team at my high school, and that we were first place Maryland State champions. I don't know if we had won first place yet. I know the year before we'd won second place, so I may have put second place on my application, but I mean, now we're first place, so not to brag, but you know. And for the hours that you spend doing each activity in the days a week, just kind of estimate. I kind of calculated how much I probably spent every week and then added that to the amount of time I spent in the meetings. I was the president of the Spanish National Honor Society. I really was involved with the Hispanic community at my high school. I wanted my application to kind of focus on a few things. My passion for social studies, to show my passion for the Spanish language, my passion for music and acting, specifically like musical theater and stuff like that. I did a lot of theater growing up. So that was like the niche that I wanted to put myself in. I wanted them to know, if you admit me, you are getting a girl who is going to contribute to the Hispanic community at your college and who is going to contribute to the theater scene at your college, and who is really, really passionate about things like law and social studies. You do not have to be the president of a club to get into one of these schools. I chose to do this because I wanted to do it. I wanted to spread the love and appreciation and the education of the Spanish language at my high school. I felt like it was something that was very me. I never would have been like the president of the science club. You know, I never would have even applied for that because it wouldn't have been me. It wouldn't have made sense with my application. So if you are just finding leadership positions just so that you can put them on your application, they're gonna see right through that. I think the reason why this leadership position helped me was because it showed like she not only is a Hispanic student, but she's connected to her culture. There were also other activities throughout my activities list that showed my involvement with the Spanish language that I will get to in just a second. And so it was consistent. It wasn't like, what is this random club that she's the president of? So again, consistency is very, very important. So my third activity, again, had to do with Spanish. I wrote for La Marea, which was the Spanish speaking section of our school newspaper. So I wrote articles completely in Spanish, and I wrote specifically about issues that impacted Latino youth. I didn't write for my normal school newspaper because it wasn't something that felt like me or felt relevant to me. So again, make sure you're doing things that are you and that are consistent. Okay, so the next thing I put was my involvement with the drama club at my school. So like I said, I did a lot of acting throughout high school, a lot of theater growing up. Theater has always been a big part of my life. It still is. I still love acting so much. So I wanted to make that a very, very big part of my application. So I put that I was an actor and a stage manager in my school's drama club. I was a production intern and theater technician at a local theater. So this is like paid work that I got to do, which was actually so cool. I loved it. I was in a performance company for my first 2 years of high school. I was actually in this performance company like starting in middle school, and then my first 2 years of high school, and then I quit after my sophomore year, which was one of the most painful things I've ever done. I really, really missed it when I left. I still miss it. I still wish I could be in it. It's called Take the Stage Performance Company. They are awesome. You should go check them out. If you live in the DC area, you should go see one of their shows because they are just Oh, they're awesome. I also was a cast member and a sound operator at Rockville Little Theater, which is a community theater in my town. And this was all volunteer work, which I think also looked good on my application. They value that. They like to see that, okay, she's doing this because she's passionate about it, because she wants to spend the time doing it, not for the money. But if you do work and you do have a job, put that on your application 100%, because, and if there's a reason why you need to help your money make family. No, help your family make money. Again, that's also relevant. And they want to see that. They want to see people who work hard given their circumstance. The 8th activity I put was a job that I had that I got paid for. I did this for 3 years. I was a camp counselor at an acting summer camp. You're probably catching the theme here. Most of what I did had to do with theater. I was staying in my niche. My 9th activity was I worked at a nursery on weekends, and this was through my church. I would take care of the kids and I got paid for this. Oh, and then my 10th activity was the History Honor Society. I was like a creative director, so I made like bulletin boards to put on the hallway walls. It wasn't much, but I liked it, and it showed my involvement with social studies. Like, it's consistent with my transcript, which shows that all my electives were social studies electives. It's just kind of think about what is truly you. When your friends think of you, what do they think of? If you ask your friends to like guess which classes you're taking, what would they say? Think about that, and then that's what you kind of want to tailor your entire application around. But I had 3. That was honest and true to who I was, and so that's what I displayed. But I didn't try to show, oh look, I can do everything. I'm good at math too. I'm good at science too. I was like, no, I'm gonna show you what my strengths are, and I'm gonna really highlight those. One thing I did include is an extenuating circumstances section. So there is a section on the Common App that lets you talk about any extenuating circumstances that you have that might have affected your school performance or might have affected your test scores, things like that. My parents had a custody battle when I was in high school. I don't want to get into it because it's highly personal, but I did like struggle a lot with family life in high school. My counselor was aware of it. I would meet with my counselor about it, so she also wrote about it, but I was advised by her to, you know, put a couple sentences about it and just explain how this made it mentally, emotionally more difficult for me to perform well in school. But if there is something, I mean, if you are below the poverty line and you have to work many jobs to support your family, put that. If that's the reason why you can't get straight A's, put that. If your sister's sick and you take care of her a lot, or your parents work a lot and you have to babysit your siblings, like, these are all extenuating circumstances. If your parents are divorced and it's been messy and it's affected you, like, put it in extenuating circumstances. On that note, I'll just talk about the quick supplements that I sent specifically to the University of Chicago. When you apply to the University of Chicago, they have a separate like portal, application portal. They don't do interviews anymore, so I actually didn't do a UChicago interview, and I think my year was the first year that they weren't doing interviews anymore. They let you include a 2-minute video about yourself. So what I did is I wrote them a song. It was just me playing my guitar. It was like a love song to the University of Chicago, explaining why we were a perfect match. And then I ended the video just kind of being like, thanks for watching this video. That's who I am. You're always gonna find me with a guitar in my hand. You're always gonna find me sitting at a piano. And so I figured the best way that I could show you guys who I was and why I love you is through song. I found something that was uniquely me. I took a bit of a risk. You know, they wanna see quirkiness. They wanna see someone who's not afraid to step outside their comfort zone. I also included clips of me acting. I think I included some videos of me singing in musical theater performances. And I also included a short story that I wrote, because creative writing is another big thing with me. And the short story that I wrote, it was like a love story. It wasn't even anything like intellectual. So I also wanted to show them like I'm a romantic. Yeah, did I forget anything? I feel like this video has already been so long. Oh, and I'll quickly mention the essays that I wrote for UChicago. I answered the question, there are 2 kinds of people in the world, what are they? I wrote this for my uncommon essay, and the answer that I gave was Nikola Tesla's and Thomas Edison's. And if you know me, that will not surprise you at all, because I am obsessed with Nikola Tesla, okay? I could recite his entire life story, but I don't want to get into that too much right now. So that's what I wrote about, again, because I thought, what is something that is so intensely, uniquely me? It doesn't pay off to write about what you think they want to see. Write about who you are, okay? What makes you different, okay? How many other students do you think wrote about Nikola Tesla? Probably none. So yeah, that is how I got into the University of Chicago. If you guys want me to make a video of like reading my essays out loud or how to write a college essay, I also have a lot of tips on how to do well on the SAT, how to do well on AP exams. If you want me to make videos explaining those, let me know. It's just too much information to include in just this one video. So I hope this was helpful. I hope this helped ease your mind a little bit. Again, you don't have to be perfect, okay? You just have to be you. You just have to do your best and be yourself. I will just end this video with saying, take a deep breath. Ready? Okay, it's going to be okay. Okay, if you liked it, give it a like. That would be really helpful to me. If you want to see more college admissions videos or anything really, just subscribe. And if you want to be alerted when they come out, hit the notification bell. And yeah, if there's anything else you want to see, please feel free to leave a comment. I try to respond to every single comment. So thanks for watching. I appreciate you making it this far in the video, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.